Good morning, everyone. Today we're convening the FirstNet Authority Combined Board and Committees meeting. I'm your board chair, Richard Carrizo. I want to thank everyone who's joining today in person and also via WebEx. We have most of our board members attending in person and several participating virtually, so I appreciate you all being here and those that are online too. The FirstNet Authority is pleased to be meeting in Honolulu this week. Yesterday, we had a roundtable discussion with almost 40 state and local public safety leaders and first responders from all across the entire state of Hawaii to learn more about their unique challenges they face as an island state. Following the devastating Maui fire last year, we felt it was important for the board to come to Hawaii and engage directly with the public safety community and hear from them firsthand about their experiences with FirstNet, both positive and negative. This year, we have prioritized working in those areas that sometimes is overlooked by many. Our colleagues outside the contiguous USA, agencies, tribes and territories, and rural areas. We're here on the heels of our latest investment announcement a few weeks ago, which laid the foundation for a 10-year plan to evolve the network and enhance coverage throughout. And we are here in the days following a broad network outage experienced on FirstNet. We'll get into that shortly, though, but let's first review the agenda for today's activities. Today, we will start with a discussion of the recent network outage, then receive a Public Safety Advisory Committee update from our PSAC Chair, Chris Lombard. Appreciate you being here today. And updates from the board's Finance and Investment, Advocacy, and Programs and Future Planning Committees chairs. But first, I'd like to ask the board secretary to call the roll of the board and confirm that each committee has a quorum. Madam Secretary, please call the roll and read the conflicts of interest statement.
Thank you, Chief. I will mark you present. Renee Gordon.
Present.
Billy Bob Brown, Jr.
Present online.
Robert Brown. Joe Carlisle.
Online.
Ryan Crawford.
Present online.
Alexandra Fernandez Navarro.
Present.
Kristen Graziano.
Present.
Billy Hughes.
Present online.
Peter Katusian.
Present.
Sean McDevitt.
Present.
Warren Mickens.
Present.
Sylvia Moyer.
Present.
Jocelyn Moore.
Present.
Paul Patrick.
Present online.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. We do have a quorum for the board as well as for all four committees. Now I will read the conflict statement. Prior to participating in the FirstNet Authority Combined Board and Committees meeting today, the board members have reviewed the agenda as well as the conflict of interest guidance provided by the Ethics Law and Program Division of the Department of Commerce Office of General Counsel regarding the conflict of interest standards that apply to the board members. All board members have responded prior to today's meeting that they do not have a conflict and will not need to recuse themselves from participation in any portion of this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Each member of the board has before him or her the minutes of our January meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes at this time? Seeing none, I'll take a motion that we accept these minutes.
Warren Mickens, I move that we accept these minutes.
Is there a second?
This is Sean McDevitt. I move that we second.
Thank you for the first and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, please say no. Are there any abstentions? Seeing none, the January minutes are accepted. Madam Secretary, please make the minutes available to the public following the meeting. Thank you. I want to take a few minutes and talk about the outage that we just discussed briefly that happened a few weeks ago and what happened, what it meant to public safety, and the actions we are taking to address it. So let's start with some of the facts. The outage occurred on the early morning hours of Thursday, February 22nd. The outage impacted AT&T's nationwide network, including its commercial customers, as well as some of the FirstNet subscribers. AT&T FirstNet restored service at about 5 a.m. Central Time, about 2.5 hours into the incident. AT&T took immediate action to prioritize the restoration of the service for public safety users. Commercial customers had several service restored by around noon that day, several hours later. I want to make it known at this point the outage was not caused by a cyber attack in any way. The outage was due to the application and execution of an incorrect process as AT&T was expanding its network. Now that we know the facts, let's talk about what happens next. Renee, I'd like to hand it over to you to discuss that, please.
Thank you, Chief. Like you said, AT&T worked to get the public safety up and fully running as fast as possible. We at the FirstNet Authority recognized that they put public safety first during the outage. Throughout Thursday and the days that followed, AT&T and FirstNet have been in close communications about the outage. The FirstNet Authority provided information as soon as it was available to our Public Safety Advisory Committee and our stakeholder community. We have requested AT&T to submit an official after-action report per our contract to assess the root cause of the outage. We understand the importance of this and will continue to hold AT&T accountable for delivering the network public safety requires and relies on for their life-saving mission.
Appreciate that, Renee. Comments? Next, I'd like to hand it over to our Executive Director, Joe Wassel, for his thoughts on this.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Board. Thank you for folks online. Just like to say, we have a very serious mission, and we take our mission very seriously here at the FirstNet Authority. I'd like to say in the spirit of Ohana, or family, that we are a nationwide team working together for public safety. We were empowered by Congress and our public safety community to build a resilient and reliable broadband network for our first responders, and a network they could count on every day at every moment. I'm sorry to say on February 22nd that the network outage impacted our first responders in the field, and for that, at the FirstNet Authority, we are very sorry. This network was built to be resilient. It was built to meet the demands of public safety. It was built to be there when they needed it most. But with any challenge, we will take this head on. In the coming days and weeks and months, we will work very closely with our great partner at AT&T to identify the circumstances, the cause, and implement strategies for corrective actions to prevent an outage like this in the future. Within the FirstNet Authority, we've stood up an after-action task force made up of public safety, technical, and emergency management experts from across the organization. The task force will gather information about the event and provide recommendations for us to take action. The task force will also help us strengthen our preparedness, emergency communications process, so that in the event of a future outage, we can understand the impact faster, we can surge to remedy the issue with AT&T, and rapidly share joint operational situational awareness with the public safety community. Because the world of telecom outages are unavoidable, we can lessen the blow by planning and preparing for these situations, and I'm dedicated, and we are dedicated, and together we will find a better way. We continue to drive our mission forward in delivering the best network for public safety, and I thank you for opening comments this morning, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Joe. Chris Lombard, I'm going to turn the meeting over to you at this time. Chris is our chair of the Public Safety Advisory Committee. So, Chief.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It's a pleasure to be able to join the FirstNet Authority Board this morning here in the lovely state of Hawaii. Next slide, please. This past quarter, the PSAC highlights mostly included involvement in FirstNet Authority engagements and individual association events themselves. In January, FirstNet Authority staff joined Michael Jacobson and Search for their winter membership meeting and engaged with more than 100 attendees at the CGIS FirstNet partnership, exploring the capabilities that this ICAM solution will provide for public safety. The full PSAC met virtually in January as part of the regular bi-monthly series, which featured readouts from several members, including Dr. Lenny Weiss from NAEMSP, who shared his research, or his association's research also, as they continue to pursue and identify ways to better use FirstNet Network to assist in emergency physicians and field personnel. An important aspect of his research is testing these innovations in the field, such as video chatting with the hospital from an ambulance or telemedicine. He shared how FirstNet enhances the ability to provide patient care, specifically while en route to the hospital before a patient is able to be seen by a doctor. In February, Sean Talmadge from the National Governors Association and I were both honored to be in Northern Virginia, along many of you in the room today. This was for the reinvestment announcement as we embark on what Joe calls FirstNet 3.0. Personal remarks that I wanted to contribute to this. It was so cool to see the fulfillment of the initial promise, but the reinvestment on continuing that promise as we build out and reinvest in this public safety national network. It's an exciting opportunity. Several associations held routine annual associations meetings, which I know FirstNet Authority staff and board members attended, including the Major County Sheriff's Association Winter Conference, the National Association of EMTs, their annual meeting, and the NASTD in their Southern or Southeast seminar. The PSAC's Tribal Working Group, or the TWG, is also continuing to meet for its regular monthly teleconferences. We greatly appreciate the continued support and regular participation from Paul Patrick and Jocelyn Moore in these monthly teleconferences. They are looking forward to their first in-person meeting in quite some time later this spring. Before I move on to the look ahead, I wanted to take a moment to thank FirstNet Authority staff and AT&T for providing updates during the outage last week. Many PSAC members were contacted by them with updates throughout the event. Similar to many of you, many of our PSAC members wear many hats in the PSAC, and to have that positive interaction and the timely and accurate information was very helpful. Simply put, they really like to feel that they're part of the team, so the continued updates help foster that. Next slide, please. The PSAC will continue to meet virtually every other month for regular updates from the FirstNet Authority engagement teams, but also collaborate with PSAC members to hear what their associations are working on as it relates to communications and technology. Several associations will be holding conferences and meetings this spring, including NLC, NEMA, AASHTO, APWA, and NASCIO. The Tribal Working Group, again, as I mentioned earlier, will be holding its first in-person meeting in March in Tucson, Arizona, which I know some of you will be joining. Last year, we'll host our June in-person PSAC meeting in conjunction with the 5x5 Summit. Its one will be in Chicago. We're all looking forward to that one as well. Other than that, no further updates from the PSAC, Mr. Chair. If there's no questions, that concludes my update.
Does anyone have any questions for Chris? Well, I appreciate it, Chris, and thank you again for coming this long way and making the report. Next, we'll move to our update from our Finance and Investment Committee Chair, Brian Crawford.
Thanks, Chief Carrizo. Today, we'll provide a brief report on the FirstNet Authority's operations budget for fiscal year 2024. But first, I want to report on steps taken since our last meeting to advance the FirstNet Authority's investment program. On January the 29th, the Board and the Finance and Investment Committee held a special board meeting to consider a resolution for an investment in network evolution. This was approved unanimously by this committee and then by the full board. The board's action set in motion a major investment into the network, launching the next phase of FirstNet. We are now focused on the expansion and evolution of the network. Following the board's approval in January, the FirstNet Authority's management team executed a 10-year initiative that will evolve the network to full 5G capabilities. This will include a dedicated 5G core. This is a significant next step in the life cycle of FirstNet. It will ensure the network keeps pace with advances in technology and that we continue to be a fast follower in the telecom industry. In addition, this investment will improve mission-critical services on the network and deliver more coverage to public safety, with 1,000 more cell sites planned over the next 2 years. And we, the FirstNet Authority, will look for opportunities to use these resources in ways to further strengthen the security of the network and enhance its resilience. The initial investment is up to $6.3 billion over 10 years for network evolution. We anticipate an additional investment package for coverage later this year worth up to $2 billion. Next slide. There you go. We were thrilled to unveil this initiative on February the 13th at the Fairfax Fire and Rescue Station in Virginia, where we were joined by public safety stakeholders from all levels of government and our network contractor, AT&T. Bottom line, the FirstNet Authority is making a major investment in the future of public safety communications. This is a strategic investment that maximizes our dollars to make the biggest impact for public safety. I want to thank the members of this committee, the board, and our management team for all the hard work to get this done. Next slide, please. During the initial 4 months of fiscal year 2024, the FirstNet Authority has obligated a cumulative total of $33.6 million and is tracking well within forecasted parameters of the FY 2024 operational budget. Mr. Chair, this concludes the committee's business for today. I'll hand the floor back over to you.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions for our finance chair? Perfect. Next, I'll turn it over to our advocacy committee chair, Sylvia Moyer.
Mahalo. Thank you, Chair Carrizo. I will start with appreciation for our kuleana. Kuleana is uniquely Hawaiian value and practice, loosely translated to mean responsibility. Our kuleana refers to our reciprocal relationship between us as people and our duty of our FirstNet network for first responders so they can carry out their kuleana as well. I'll then go to an update that we are examining the tempo of the committee and how frequently we meet. Prior meetings have been held monthly, and we are revamping that, and you will see more to come on that. And I will now share some engagement highlights from the first quarter of fiscal year 2024 and our recent collaborations with our public safety stakeholders. In the first quarter of FY 2024, our team continued to meet with stakeholders to get feedback on the network and advance the FirstNet experience. Our team held over 300 public safety engagements. This is about 16% of those as national events, and the other engagements occurred across the 52 states and territories and also included the District of Columbia. The team reached more than 13,000 stakeholders through these engagements and collected more than 300 feedback items ranging from operational needs to use cases to current challenges. This quarter, the team hosted 8 tours in our Boulder facility to demonstrate FirstNet capabilities to dozens of visitors. The Boulder team continues to stay busy. This week alone, they're hosting 4 different groups, including representatives from several local Colorado public safety agencies, as well as FirstNet Authority staff. We will continue our engagements with public safety and are committed to driving their unique communications needs into our FirstNet network. Regarding public safety engagement highlights, as we typically do, I'd like to highlight a few examples of our engagement with public safety during the current quarter. First, our team continued to execute the series of FirstNet progress update meetings with the states in conjunction with AT&T to increase transparency and lay the groundwork for future engagements. With the completion of the Pacific Territories, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Rhode Island here in Q2, we are 95% complete across the nation. The team is working to complete the last 3 engagements in the coming months, and these will be in California, Iowa, and Ohio, if requested or if necessary. In February, Sheriff Katusian, Sheriff Graziano, and the team participated in the winter legislative conferences for the major county sheriffs of America, National Sheriffs Association, and Major City Chiefs Association in Washington, D.C., and in Charlotte, North Carolina. Of note, our very own Joe Wassel provided a keynote address at MCSA, and Sheriff Katusian was recognized. Let's put a big point on this and emphasize it. Our very own Sheriff Katusian was recognized as Sheriff of the Year by MCSA. So big congratulations. We're very proud of you, Sheriff. Thanks for your leadership. The team also had the opportunity to meet with the MCSA board leadership to discuss their support of this network, as well as engage on various topics important to FirstNet. The team also attended committee meetings as members of the NSA, Emerging Technology, CGIS, and Homeland Security committees, providing key insights to support ongoing committee efforts. Here's a highlight for us. Just yesterday, we had an opportunity to host a roundtable discussion with the representatives from local and state of Hawaii public safety agencies, including Honolulu Police and the State of Hawaii Office of Enterprise Technology Services. This is where they shared story with us. Through this facilitated discussion, we heard how the state and counties are using FirstNet to support the island's unique public safety needs. Also, in January, before we get to January, I'd ask, are there any board members that would like to share some thoughts regarding our meeting yesterday? Well, hearing none, we are fortunate to have a representative that understands the unique needs, texture, challenges, and strengths of serving public safety and first responders in the island. So thank you, Alexandra, for your unique perspective. So I'll move on. In January, our very own Alexandra and our Mayor Hughes traveled with the team to Guam, the Mariana Islands, and American Samoa. The team delivered FirstNet progress updates, conducted a post-incident discussion regarding Typhoon Mawar, and engaged directly with territorial and local public safety stakeholders to better understand and document operational needs, including our coverage needs. Overall, despite significant challenges, the team noted a willingness to collaborate with the FirstNet Authority and our partner AT&T on future network enhancements and coverage expansion. At this time, I'd invite Mayor Hughes and Alexandra to share any thoughts that they have regarding this absolutely essential and groundbreaking engagement.
Thank you, Chair. As board members, it's really important for us to see the uniqueness of different jurisdictions where first responders have to serve in order for us to make decisions that will allow FirstNet to better serve them. Going to the Pacific territories was eye-opening and gave me an understanding of their particular challenges and the ways that we must evolve FirstNet for those island territories and other areas in the nation that are unserved or underserved. I thank the board for the opportunity, but most of all, I want to extend my gratitude and deep admiration to the committed FirstNet staff and the first responder communities, like the ones we were so blessed to meet in the Pacific and like the ones we met yesterday here in Hawaii, that continue to engage so that the job of saving lives can have the resources and the capabilities that only a network like ours, FirstNet, can provide. It's been a pleasure and an honor to be able to visit the territories, and I again want to thank the board and our staff for the amazing job that they do. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sylvia. This is Billy. I would just echo what Alexandra had said, that it was a remarkable experience and having a firsthand knowledge of seeing what the challenges were, but also the enthusiasm that senior level officials have for the capabilities of FirstNet and their desire to see that we deliver those to a level that equates to what is happening in the continental United States is paramount. And again, the staff was most impressive with their advance and their on-island support and knowledge of, again, what the challenges are. So it was a remarkable experience, and I think that our service to those communities are going to be better as a result. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Hughes and Board Member Fernandez-Navarro. It is never a light and easy task to meet people where they are and to travel representing this network, so thank you. Regarding the Super Bowl and on-site support, just a few weeks ago, PSA supported Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas, Nevada. The team spent a year planning with local, state, and federal public safety officials to understand their needs and to ensure reliable communications throughout all related events with this big game. The team coordinated with the relevant entities prior to and during the game, as well as continued to evaluate the user experience prior to and throughout the activities of the week of the Super Bowl. The team was in constant contact with AT&T and maintained awareness of their efforts throughout this event. And our very own Jocelyn Moore had the tough task of representing us there at the big game. And Jocelyn, I'd invite you to share any thoughts because this planned event was so significant on a global scale. And can you share any thoughts based on your visit?
I can, and mahalo, Madam Chairwoman. It was a tough task to be at the Super Bowl. Let me begin my remarks in all seriousness by thanking the FirstNet Authority staff, the AT&T staff, and the public safety community there on site. It is, in fact, no small measure to protect and serve the fan base at a large-scale event like the Super Bowl. And in many respects, there is no larger event. And so let me begin by thanking the staff with a special shout-out to Fred Scalera at AT&T, as well as our very own Mike Varney and Doug Harder, who were amazing. There are three observations that I'd like to impress upon the board. So I worked at the NFL when FirstNet was still in its infancy, and what I was so struck by at this particular visit was the evolution of the integration of public safety into the very fabric of the game. And what do I mean? We walked into Allegiant Stadium, which is one of the newest, was the newest NFL stadium, and not only was there space for public safety built into a dedicated space. So this isn't just like a closet that you put a new sticker on the outside to say law enforcement. There is dedicated space, significant dedicated space in Allegiant Stadium with all of the communications capabilities that our first responders need in the event of emergency. So that's point number one. The second point that I was struck by was the continuous learning and collaborative atmosphere. For the first time ever, you see that chair highlighted in the picture here. FirstNet had a seat at the multi-agency command center. That makes an extraordinary difference. We are with everyone else, every other federal agency, local agency, etc., that is there to respond to any and every event that requires a public safety response. And then finally, the always-on approach of public safety was in full effect here. So not just at the big game, but when I was with our team, they told me that while preparing for the Super Bowl, they responded to 2 local emergency events, including an avalanche there locally, as well as a helicopter emergency. And so to be able to think about it, we're there for the Super Bowl. There are so many people, tens of thousands of people that have convened on Las Vegas. Public safety is dedicated to that, but also making sure that they are still responding to everything happening there locally. So it was tremendous to be a part of it. Hats off to the staff again for a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn, for not only sharing those incredible insights, but for your presence there. It always makes a difference. Thank you. So the 5x5 Public Safety Innovation Summit, as I wrap up, I want to put a finer point on this and take a moment to promote the 2024 5x5 Summit. Chief Lombard mentioned earlier holding the next PSAC meeting at 5x5. The 2024 5x5 Summit will be held June 25 through 27 in Chicago, Illinois. Registration for this event is open, and we look forward to sharing the full agenda in the coming months. Finally, we are seeking 2024 nominations for 2 FirstNet Authority Awards to honor public safety leaders who have made significant contributions to public safety broadband communications. The very prestigious Harlan McEwen Award honors an individual who has displayed remarkable leadership or made significant contributions in the field of public safety communications. The Patriot Award, established last year, recognizes individual first responders or public safety agencies that use FirstNet to make their communications safer. This slide, as you will see, shows our award recipients over the past several years. Nominations should be submitted through FirstNet.gov website. Nominations, again, should be submitted through the FirstNet.gov website no later than March 15th. This is a tight turnaround, but remarkable people deserve to be recognized for their remarkable efforts in this space. We look forward to recognizing the 2024 recipients at this year's 5x5 Summit. So again, our kuleana, our responsibility is clear, and I say mahalo, Chief. This concludes the Advocacy Committee update, and I turn it back to you, Chair Carrizo.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add something about yesterday's meeting, if I may.
Certainly, please.
I just wanted to be known that it was a really historic event yesterday. We sat at a table. In fact, the board members did not sit at the table. We were here to listen to the first responders from this great state of Hawaii, to listen to their concerns, their unique needs. It's an island nation. It was great having Alexandra Fernandez Navarro here that comes from an island herself that could share in the concerns and the unique needs of these islands here. It was a very powerful experience to watch them share with us their concerns and also their appreciations for much of the efforts that we made, especially during the fires on Maui, and what we can learn. A wise man once said that we should never let a crisis go to waste. Actually, that wise man is our executive director, Joe Wassel. He says that pretty often, and I always pick up something from that. And I think that's true because with first responders, police, fire, emergency dispatch, some of the greatest lessons we learn are those from whether they be mistakes or things that we could have done better, right? The after-action work. And I think that was a great experience to be able to share that and to learn from that. I visited this island a couple of years ago. I was here on another conference, but I asked FirstNet leadership if I might have the opportunity to travel with Kennison Tejada, our representative out here, and to meet with a few of the people that sometimes, deserve to have a meeting with people other than Kennison from FirstNet. And so I had the chance to meet Chief Logan and Administrator Pace here with their staff. They expressed a lot of concerns. What was great was the fact that I was able to take them back to FirstNet, see them again yesterday. What I was really appreciative and proud of was the fact that our leadership here at FirstNet made a commitment not just to have that be the end of it, but to make sure that was not a one and done. It was a commitment to continuing that conversation, so much so that there is a commitment to come back to this island in just a few months, to the state in just a few months, to follow up on some of the things that we learned with our partners from AT&T. It was a really proud moment. Again, I think it was a very historic moment. And we listened. The entire time was spent listening to those people that serve us every day in very difficult and very unique circumstances, protecting our communities. And as it has been said, we want the boots to come home each time. I think we learned a lot. I think we grew a lot. I think there's a lot more trust that was built through that experience. And I'm looking forward to those next meetings in a few months with whatever representatives are sent here and the continuing relationship, not just with Hawaii, but other islands and territories, as Alexandra always speaks about, the unique territories that we need to be mindful of that sometimes are forgotten about because they're so outlying and they have such unique needs. So it was a really proud day and historic day to be part of that, and I think that is shared by my fellow board members as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Dujan. Appreciate that. It was a very important day yesterday. I think what we always forget, too, that over half those individuals didn't just drive over. They had to fly over and meet with us. So a large commitment on their part also to be here and to tell us their needs and wants and happinesses at the same time. So With that, I also want to congratulate you again one more time, Peter, on your share for the year. Well deserved. So congratulations.
Thank you. It was a great honor. Thank you.
And now I'll turn it over to our chairwoman, Jocelyn Moore, who will provide us a program and future planning committee update. But before that, I just want to say again, thank you for being at the Super Bowl and rooting for the correct team.
Oh, wow.
With that,
No. We can't put that on because we left it on fall 32.
I said for the correct team. I didn't say one team.
Kidding, of course. Great game, great halftime. It was all awesome. And as Chair Moyer has said, it was a very tough task, but someone had to do it. So thank you all. And a little hot to my fellow board members and everyone listening on the phone. As our Finance and Investment Committee Chair, Brian Crawford, mentioned earlier, the FirstNet Authority recently launched the next phase of FirstNet through a series of strategic investments totaling more than $8 billion over 10 years. As the FirstNet Authority and its network partner, AT&T, put these investments into action, we will be delivering full 5G capabilities on FirstNet, expanding mission-critical services, and enhancing coverage. I want to underline enhancing coverage. One of the critical elements of this investment is the 10-year period of performance. This extended outlook will provide FirstNet, AT&T, and our public safety stakeholders with the flexibility and a level of certainty that allows us the freedom to innovate and bring forth the best-in-class solutions for continued network evolution and coverage enhancements. To take advantage of that intended flexibility, the FirstNet Authority built a new process that allows for annual prioritization and planning. Through this annual process, the FirstNet Authority will conduct and analyze public safety operational needs, technology and marketplace advancements, and specific product and solution past performance results each year before determining the following year's priorities and obligating funding. That type of benchmarking is a hallmark of operational excellence. This annual prioritization and planning process applies to our future coverage enhancement work as well. On the coverage side, the FirstNet Authority has developed an internal ArcGIS-based tool that pulls in multiple data layers to help identify potential areas of interest for enhancement. With input from public safety and working closely with our network partner AT&T, the FirstNet Authority will target future enhancements where we can provide the most benefit to public safety operations. Next slide, please. Turning to highlights from the fourth quarter of our network momentum, here are a few things that I'd like to point out. There are more than 5.5 million connections on the network, leveraging over 725 FirstNet-ready devices and over 220 unique public safety applications. As you know, we completed our initial build-out of the radio access network and surpassed our initial coverage plan significantly. We are now shifting our focus on improving the user experience by funding a new 5G standalone core, new public safety features, and of course, new coverage. I'm going to keep saying that, new coverage. Over 1,810 unique solutions were deployed in the first 3 quarters of 2023 for FirstNet public safety users in support of events ranging from disasters to small and large pre-planned events such as concerts, marathons, etc. As you can see, the network connections on the next slide continue to see major growth. In the last quarter, it grew by another 200,000 plus connections, topping 5.5 million connections across the states and territories. We also saw the number of public safety agencies adopting the network grow to 27,500 agencies. Again, no small feat. I want to thank the AT&T and FirstNet Authority staff, as well as our broader public safety community for all of this work. The momentum continues to trend forward. We are super excited about the road ahead, the next phases of the network build out, and all of the enhancements. So thank you for the time. Mr. Chairman, I'll now turn the meeting back to you.
Thank you, Jocelyn. This time I'd like to turn the meeting over to our Executive Director, Joe Wassel, for a few words.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Board. 2024 has already been a significant year for the FirstNet Authority. In late January, we had a special board meeting, as was mentioned, approving $8 billion of future investment for the next 10 years. 2 weeks after that, we were in Springfield, Virginia for the kickoff of that and the signing ceremony, which was incredibly exciting. And Chris, thanks for the shout out on 3.0, because I think it's going to be amazing. Thank you for that. Then less than 2 weeks ago, we had a powerful reminder and an important reminder that there's always more to be done. And to build out the most resilient and reliable network for public safety, we're just getting started and off we go. The year ahead continues with promise and nothing but opportunity. In the light of the challenges, we continue to advance public safety communications with our 5G capabilities and next evolution of the core and coverage. Our team will be actively working to address the outage and build a stronger, better network for public safety. We will continue to engage with public safety across this great nation. In late June, as was mentioned, 5x5 will bring together the PSAC, the board, and public safety leadership from all across the nation and all across the world. We are very excited to be in Chicago for this combined event, and we hope to see you all there. Before I wrap up, I wanted to say mahalo again to our hosts here in the beautiful and amazing and important state of Hawaii. It was so important and powerful for us to be here. It was a board first to hold a board meeting outside the 48 contiguous states, and it's putting our efforts behind our words to focus on TTR, territorial, tribal lands, and rural. I think it was an important message that we sent by being here, and we want to thank again our hosts for such an incredible few days here in this on the wonderful island of Hawaii. If I may, Mr. Chair, just a personal note, 35 years ago today, Lieutenant Wassell started his Air Force career at Columbus Air Force Base. And what a journey it has been of federal service. And I just want to say that I was proud to begin my service on March 6, 1989. And I'm extremely proud and grateful and humbled to continue my service to our nation here with you and the board with this great authority. So thank you so much for that.
Well, congratulations on your anniversary, 35 years. Wish we would have known that. We would have had a cake, I'm sure. But maybe next year. So with that, I would open the meeting if anybody has any remarks they'd like to make before we close. Seeing none, I would be happy to take a motion to close out this meeting.
Mr. Chairman, Kristen Graziano, I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, Peter Katusian, I second that motion.
Motion's been made and second. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Sorry. All opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Seeing none, I would take that as a motion to close the meeting. I would like to thank everybody who has participated today in the combined board and committees meeting, and especially to our audience that tuned in today to join us over the WebEx. At this point, I will consider this meeting closed. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.